Good day, ladies and gents. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Andre,
I'm Christy. I'm Amelia.
and we are
Family Paranormal. So today we're doing something a little bit different. As we said in one of our last videos, Amelia really likes true crime.
Yes, I love it.
So we're going to take some time today to discuss a case out of Australia, which kind of caught her attention and we think is a little interesting. So in May of 1948, Lynette Sims was born. And in 1965, she met Chris Dawson in high school at an event. And they were kind of the portrait of their time. They were young, had a very strong connection, very much, the cute young couple during that time. And they were married in 1970 at St. Jude's Church in Sydney, and they would follow the template of the parents. So they, got married, settled down, were working hard, had kids, and really lived the typical life of the time. Between 1972 and 1976, Chris and his identical twin brother, Paul, played professional rugby. And they played for the Newton Jets. And in 1975, the Dawson brothers and their spouses appeared on an ABC program, a documentary called Checkerboard, to discuss how the twins' close bond affected their lives. So Lynette and Chris lived on Sydney's northern beaches of Bayview, and he was a high school PE teacher and a well-known rugby league player. And they lived with their two young daughters.
So, a year and a half prior to Lynette's disappearance, Chris had actually been having sexual relations with a 17-year-old student that was named Joanne Curtis. Her family home wasn't the greatest. There was some issues of violence and in her grade 11 year, she was kicked out of the house, to where she went and lived with Lynette and her husband, Chris. Not the greatest of circumstances. When the relationship between Joe and Chris had been discovered, obviously she wasn't wanted around anymore by Leanne.
Why?
Or sorry, Lynette. So she was asked, or told to leave, I should say.
Voluntold.
And, you'd think she'd get some distance away from them. No, she actually moved 200 meters down the road with Chris's brother. Lynette was phoned by her mother on the 8th of January, 82, and that would be the last communication they ever had with each other. She planned to meet her mother and family at the Northbridge Baths the following day. Obviously didn't arrive. A 33-year-old mother at the time of two children was reported missing on Saturday, January 9th. And 2 days after Lynn Dawson's appearance, Joe moved back into the house with Chris Dawson and his two young children. Lynette was seen with bruises around her throat 3 days before the disappearance. And Miss Leary told the NSW Supreme Court that Miss Dawson had suggested the pair undertake marriage counseling in January of '82. Obviously, for the marital difficulties they were having. Dawson wasn't pleased at the suggestion and physically attacked Lynette again in what they're calling the lift, we'd call an elevator, right after the counseling session. In a statement to police, Chris said that she had joined a religious organization and he finalized the divorce proceedings against Lynette in '83.
Cult.
Allegedly. It took Chris 6 weeks to report her disappearance on February 18th. That in itself seems really shady.
Sketchy AF.
I know if Christy disappeared, it wouldn't take me 6 weeks to go, maybe we should get somebody looking for her.
I hope not. I hope you miss me.
So he has always claimed his innocence and denies any wrongdoing in his wife's disappearance.
Now, the popular true crime podcast, The Teacher's Pet, led to a mass surge of viewers and interest. And essentially, they wanted to as anyone does, want to know more about the sudden cold case that's been going on for years. And essentially, it had exposed new evidence to, as I said, the decades-old story and dark allegations of Sydney teachers at 3 high schools systematically grooming students in the 80s. PDF files. Yeah. Interesting.
Just goes to prove criminals are stupid. If you're leaving a paper trail and stuff, you deserve to be caught.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
20 teachers were sleeping with their 11th and 12th years schoolgirls. Also emerged in the popular true crime podcast.
So just to clarify, that's grade 11 and 12, not 11 and 12-year-olds.
That would really not be good.
Either way, it's conflict of interest, but...
The podcast also got an investigation by the Australian newspaper. Phil Webster, what I assume would be a teacher, or who I assume would be a teacher, said that most staff were doing the right thing, but there were a lot of, as he called it, rogue teachers.
Perverts.
The oogity boogities. Who with their teenage students. A lot of the teachers said once they're legal mate, they're fair game. As he said, that no, I absolutely do not agree with that. Just because they're 18.
Not even 18. I think 16 in Australia is
age of consent.
Oh. Ugh. Gross.
And once they hit 16, there's no 2-year rule or anything like there is in North America.
Right. In 2018, the investigators began searching Dawson's former home. Why they didn't do it before is beyond me.
30 years later. Well, almost 40.
Yeah.
Better late than never.
So yeah, they searched the home in their former home at Bayview on Sydney's northern beaches, and a dig in search of the property to, establish what could have possibly happened to the missing mother. And it was empty. Yeah, they found nothing.
Surprise, surprise. You wait 30 years, probably not going to be a whole lot of evidence left.
Yeah, again.
With who knows how many families living in there after. And...
Yeah. Chris Dawson was then taken into Queensland over the death of Lynette in 2018 on the 30th of August 2022 to establish times. Justice Harrison took 5 hours to deliver his reasons of finding Dawson guilty. For that, it seems like quite a long time. But then again, you need to convince them and whatnot, so...
Actually, for a murder case, that's insanely fast.
Well, that wasn't jury deliberation. That was the justice who's pronouncing him guilty, spending 5 hours explaining, here's all why you're guilty.
And ruled she was murdered by Chris on or around this date. On December 2nd of that same year, Dawson was sentenced to 24 years in jail with chance of parole at 18 years on the new no body, no parole law, which kind of makes sense. So in Wales, Dawson may not be released unless he reveals where he may or may not have disposed of her body.
Which is really kind of interesting because in North America, typically, if there's no body, you're probably going to end up with a lesser sentence. And yeah, in Australia, apparently, if there's no body, you sit and rot in jail for the entire sentence unless you
produce a body.
Yeah. Now, in the off chance that, someone really is innocent, that sucks even more because, if you legit don't know where the body is, it's
hard to produce it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of those cases that, you don't hear a ton about. There were many, many years between when she disappeared and when there was finally an arrest made. There was suspicion, back in the 80s, early 80s, in 82 when she disappeared, but it kind of just sat and nothing happened. And, thanks to the work of a podcast, it really shed some light on the things that were happening at the time and the problems that were happening in the community, and in particular with Chris and Lynette. And I think, it's those little things that can make a big difference even many years later. And it's great to see that that it can pull people together and help kind of
So you
shed
can,
light on things.
Well, he'll probably get out.
probably.
He'll be a very old man when he gets out, but he'll probably get
He'll
out.
be like, "Where's my cane?"
So yeah, I'd like to thank Christy for all the hard work she did in
Yeah.
doing the research on this. It wasn't the easiest case file for her to find the information we needed on, so.
Especially on their like before the incident, because that was kind of hell trying to look for. Again, when I was looking for the interesting cases, I kind of like skimmed over it, so I read like 1 or 2 articles about it just to get a base of what it looks like, and that came up as the most interesting one to me. So yeah.
So yeah, we want to thank you all for joining us today, and I hope you found this interesting. If you did and you want to see more, leave a comment down below, hit the like and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithms to help us reach more people. And yeah, until next time, I'm Andre.
I'm Christy.
I'm Amelia.
And we are
Family
Family
Paranormal.
Paranormal.
See
Bye,
ya.
everybody.
Bye.